For my final presentation, I chose to talk about droughts in Africa. I am really interested in natural disasters, but I wanted to make it more specific. I decided to choose droughts because they kill the most people every year worldwide over any other natural disaster and are a huge hazard in Africa. To understand more about droughts, we need to first understand a major weather phenomenon that drastically affects the droughts in the tropics. This is called the Intertropical Convergence Zone. It only exists in the tropics between 23.5 degrees north and 23.5 degrees south. The ITCZ is a band of low-pressure air that moves to the north or the south depending on which hemisphere is experiencing summer. The ITCZ moves more to the north when they are experiencing summer because it is more directly under the sun, creating insolation and heat. This also occurs the same in the south. When you have a low pressure band, like the ITCZ, the high pressure air wants to fill it in. When the ITCZ is in the southern hemisphere, the high pressure from above the Sahara Desert sweeps across, coming to fill it in. This creates a very dry season for North Africa. A lot of droughts are caused by the ITCZ and the dry season that it creates because the majority of Africa is in the tropics. This wind that carries all of the dust from the Sahara Desert creates a huge dust storm called the Harmattan. The Harmattan occurs roughly from December to January each year and causes a lot of health problems as well as agricultural problems. The ITCZ and the Harmattan are what cause the dry season in Africa. In Africa, they have a lot longer of a dry season than a wet season, but Africa does not have good infrastructure. It makes it very difficult for them to be able to make the water from the wet season last so that they can use it for agriculture during the dry season. A lot of the agriculture in Africa is reliant on the rain for its water. There's not irrigation systems like there are in the more developed countries in the rest of the world. One of the hidden problems or causes of the drought in Africa is the land degradation by humans. There are two things that go into land degradation that I would like to talk about. The first has to do with colonialism and land use. Due to Africa's long drought season, the water sources in the beginning are already limited, but when you add crops that aren't meant to be grown there, it only makes matters worse. When Africa was colonized by many of the European countries, they used the area that they could for agriculture. The native crops to Africa would not produce the same amount of money that a cash crop would. They made the people grow cash crops on their land so that they could use it to make more money. Cash crops take a lot more water to grow, and they are not native to Africa, so this increases the water supply that they need. This caused a lot of problems, not only because it took up the water, but they also were forced to farm on a larger scale. This eroded the land and made the dirt lose its nutrients. The plants had to have more water then to make up for the loss of nutrients, and this is what leads to the droughts. The second problem has to do with the growing population. As we have talked about in this class, Africa has a very fast-paced growing population. They need to be able to provide food for all of the people, but they do not have the resources that they need to be able to provide and grow this food. The more that they work the land, the worse that the land degradation comes, and it's going to lead to the crops being produced being less and less. This will eventually lead to a famine.